Five, four, three, two, one. We're going live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a blessed day to be alive. My name is Carl Slicer, and we're presenting the Business 101 Referrals, part 2 of 3. And next Friday will be part 3 of 3. And we started this last Friday, and I'm going to go right into a sharing here so I can get the process rolling here. And I think everybody can see that. If you can't see that, let me know. Okay, so let me cut this off here. The local radio station in the background because we try to support local business here. Listen to WDRC all my life. We're talking about the talk shows and the contests, and this morning they're reminiscing how they got a phone call at the house. WDRC used to make phone calls outbound from lists that they had. And if you answered the phone, I'm listening to WDRC, you had a chance of winning. So if you were like the 9th caller, you could actually win whatever it was that they had up. And funny thing is, my brother-in-law got on the phone and he had not listened to the call that morning to know the answer. And it turns out he goes out to the bus stop, and Mrs. Croca, the bus driver, sees Brian getting on the bus, and she says, "I heard you this morning. I can't believe that you blew it." And everybody on the bus knew that he lost that opportunity with WDRC. So interesting. So good morning to everybody. And the process we're doing here this morning is going to go into part 2 of the series, and want to make some impressions on you and maybe motivate some things for you, as well as if you have questions, thoughts, or concerns, you're more than welcome to contact us and help develop your own referral program that works for you. And I like to use spreadsheets. I use Google Drive spreadsheets to do this. And as just to recap last week, one of the things that I do is I've learned over the years that we all have different personalities, and it's not just one size fits all. So I had to change my ways. I'm a growth group leader with the 3 million% program. And I can tell you that when you look at personalities, there's basically 4 types of personalities out there. There's dominance, there's cautious, there's stabilizing, there's influencing type people. And with the Chamber of Commerce, consider an image in your mind about the Chamber of Commerce being like a power plant of energy. And what do you have in a power plant? You've got the device that creates the electricity. You have the controls of operating the facility, and the controls are what maintains the levels of the electricity that are going out to the users in the grid. And so the power plants, take example, the power plants down in the Millstone area on the shoreline. Those facilities are massive amounts of electricity, and you can't get from point A to A, B, C, D, E to your house without going through a number of steps. So one of those lines coming out of Millstone is 13,000 volts. When you consider you've got 240 volts that come to your house, and then it's split again from there down to 120, so you can put a lamp on and it won't blow up. To go from 13,000 to 120,000 volts, 120 volts is a huge step down. So what happens is the electricity gets generated, it gets dispersed, and then as it gets into our neighborhoods, you have transformers. And I think of people in the chamber of having different processes that resemble this. And I think in the business referral program, I think you have to try to be a transformer, and that means that you're positioning yourself to be the answer person, and many times for people that are both in business as well as consumer. So once you've established yourself of being able to come up with referrals, you'll find that there are people that'll come back to you and look for more and more referrals. It's just like if you've heard somebody speak, there are good speakers, there are not so good speakers, but there are great speakers that are tried and true because they've tried and successfully spoke in front of groups and can follow through with their ideas. So if you are exercising, handing out good leads, I like to look at this first aspect as it's better to give than it is to receive. Now, we all know where that old saying comes from, and I think there's a lot of good in that. And we were, at least I was taught in my family that is first and foremost, because we're thankful for what we have, we're thankful for our health, and we want to see other people be healthy and happy as well. And so the one example that I've got there is Savings Bank of Rockville, who became Rockville Bank, who got bought up later on by a couple other banks, and now they're part of United Bank. But Bill McGurk was the president there, and he made a number of positions available in a marketing aspect to the community to set themselves aside. Because let's face it, there's half a dozen banks probably within a couple mile range of all of us here. And so banks are a commodity. They're very common, they're available. They sell similar products. So what sets them aside? Well, one of the things that Bill McGurk's organization did is they advertised themselves as the biggest little bank in Connecticut. And he also had other things that he did promulgating this feeling. And that, for instance, I can remember one of the things that they used to brand themselves was, we are not tellers, we are listeners. So all the people that worked at the bank call themselves listeners. They also took away the the call. You know how you call a big organization and it says, "Hi, you've called us, and we're going to spend the next 3 minutes telling you about COVID, and you can't skip by it, and you've only heard it 5 times, blah, blah, blah." And then you get the press 1 for this and press 2 for that. Well, Rockville Bank didn't do that. They went live on every single call they would answer with a live operator. And it was very, very effective. And it became part of a standard in Connecticut, where you saw other banks changing to this. So this big little bank aspect was remarkable. One of the things that Rockville Bank also did was they created a foundation of giving into the community. And we know probably just about every bank out there does this type of thing, and they like to do it, certain times of the year and certain effectiveness, things are going on, so forth and so on. Rockville Bank had essays that they created. They were looking for ideas in the essays, and they would put them out, and they went out to every school in their region. And they went to Vernon School System, and they went to Ellington and Tolland, and they went to South Windsor and the Glastonbury, and so forth and so on. And these categories of essays that the I think they were all seniors to qualify to take the essay, were all based on, I think, three different categories you could answer your essay or do your essay in. And then the one that won in that category, they were given $1,000 donation from the bank. And because the bank's foundation was nonprofit, this was a charitable type process. So that right there kicks off what I'm saying about better to give than to receive. And if you keep that in mind, with the referrals too, your referrals will have a better aspect as well. Meaning, if you can think of a referral for someone before they come to you, or if you're Johnny on the spot and say, you know what, I just called my favorite tree climber. And the reason why this guy is one of my favorites is because I've used his work. B, he's timely. C, he's putting everything in writing when he writes a proposal. D, we do the background checks on him. We find that there's no criminal history. His license is valid. He's in the area, so that response time is more than reasonable. And believe it or not, one of the experiences that I had back in August was when the trees came down with that storm. He came by and he said, yeah, he says, I'll give you a price, and here's what it is. So he said, if you can wait, because I've got so many emergency calls, like trees that fell down on houses and stuff. Well, I'll be back. And I said, that's fine. We can wait. Not a problem. This one is not that dangerous. It just needs to be addressed to at some time. Well, during that 2 weeks 10 days that I waited for him to come back, I had 3 contractors stop by out of the blue and said, hey, can I give you a quote? And he said, sure, no problem. Go for it. And the worst quote was not only 400% higher in price, was also the most problematic. I asked them 2 questions. I said, I'm looking at your business card. Are you licensed to do this? And do you have insurance? And when I asked him about insurance, he asked for the business card back. And I said, wow, that's not the response that I was looking for. So as it turns out, this particular gentleman, Randy Dutton from Tallinn, ended up bringing in a great price for me. He did the job. He came down. He climbed the tree. Lord knows he didn't even go up with a bucket. He climbed up with a saw on his side and took this thing down, and it came down in pieces, controlled with a rope, and everything was done with safety aspect. The other thing that I learned from Randy and talking to him too was that anybody can cut down a tree. You don't need a license for it. But when it comes to making recommendations, looking at the health of the tree, making sure that the tree does not start infecting other trees with certain diseases and so forth and so on. You need an arborist license with the state of Connecticut, and he has one. He has insurance. He has workers' comp for his people. So if somebody gets hurt, and I'm thinking, holy cow, this guy was not only was the best price, he did the best job. And I feel good for him because he is doing everything by the book, as opposed to the other guys that showed up. They were not even close to being licensed. Is like the worst one had 10 criminal events in his adult lifetime. Whereas, you know what? Yeah, okay, it's taken out a tree, but on the other hand, I'm not sure if I want him around my family while he's doing this. So big difference there. And those are the people that they go from I like them to I love them. And when I love them, I feel very loyal because I understand business owners and the tough process that they go through in life to get everything in that they're supposed to when it comes to licensing and quotes and the billing and when do I hire the next person? It's a big juggling act. So appreciating and being, I think, sympathetic to this business plight is a key thing in the referrals, because you're now really willing to make recommendations. Let me also explain to you about recommendations. When you make a recommendation, nobody expects that to be the only answer. A lot of people will take recommendations from other people, and they may take three bids and that kind of thing. But I think a lot of people don't always like giving referrals because they're afraid that that situation will come back on them as a bad experience, and they'll get a bad phone call, a reputation, or and they kind of hide um, from being in that position. Um, as a business owner, you got to stick your toe out in the water. You got to try things. You got to try and figure out what things are good for you. And sometimes you do it several times. After a while, it becomes old habit, um, and it works better each and every time. I can tell you that from my experiences in speaking. The speaking worlds, particularly with Toastmasters, allows you to practice with people that are sympathetic to the exact same thing that you're doing, so that when you get up and you give that 3-minute speech on a particular subject, you're not getting cat calls, you're getting specific critiques on how you presented, how you would do better. And there's actually questions and answers that they look for in the book program to teach you how to be a better speaker and what to do, what not to do. Moving on here, there's a thing called the business triangle, business referral triangle. A triangle is a great image to have in your mind when you do this. So one side of the angle is you, the next is the referral that you're giving, and then the third part of that is the effect that took place as a result of that referral. And I'll give you an example. The chamber itself is a fantastic place to consider how that triangle works. So you're on one side of the angle. The chamber makes a recommendation to you, and you make a contact, and you make a new friend, you open up a new account, you have a new relationship. Well, the point of the business triangle is so that you not only affect one person, but you're affecting directly and indirectly. And in my Outlook, I use Outlook a lot. And in my Outlook, if I were to do a keyword search right now on the word referral, you would find over 550 contacts have the word referral in the notes. And I do that to remind myself of the situation whereby either I gave them a referral or they gave me a referral and something great came out of it. Now there's first generation, excuse me, second generation, and there's third generation. Let me do something here right now. Let me go and unmute here. Just make sure anybody has any questions here. We can, I'm getting some. Oh, I see. So you guys, I think you guys can unmute. Does anybody have any questions right now? No? Okay, I'll keep going from here. I think everybody's still awake. I'm not putting anybody to sleep here. First, second, and third generation referrals. So when you have a referral that comes to you, you open up that account, and then that relationship develops. And then from there, you get another account that opens. So let's say that Kevin gets a referral from me. And I said, Kevin, you need to call Peter, Paul, and Mary because I think they're a good candidate for your product. And we go into detail of what specifically that they need. I think that there's a need at the moment, and that's a hot lead. And for those of you who've been in the BNI programs in the past, when they pass leads, it's either a warm lead, mediocre, or it's a hot lead indicated right on the thermostat there. So let's say Kevin calls Peter, Paul, and Mary, and they develop a relationship, and they decide they like the product, they want to work with Kevin, they pull the trigger. Okay, fine. So now Peter, Paul, and Mary are opened up, and 6 months down the road, Peter, Paul, and Mary are happy, and they come back to Kevin and say, hey, Kevin, you know what? I think you need to talk to Mike Minion. Mike Minion needs your product too. So Peter, Paul, and Mary are now giving Kevin a third generation referral. So it becomes exponential. And I have two programs where this works very, very specifically like that. My first referral triangle works in the supermarket field, and Lynn and I do a lot of work with supermarkets with their specific needs, and they have needs of both general aspects, your regular typical criminal record checks. You have managers that need to have specific experience in fields, like, for instance, the Jewish community loves to have people that are experienced with the Jewish food, the kosher food. And I know that firsthand because I've spoken with human resource managers that struggle to keep their complement of kosher food experts up. And it's not an easy thing to find somebody that has that. So we'll be sensitive to that. And then there's a third part of that is where supermarkets have to be aware of sanctions because they receive Medicare, Medicaid payments at the pharmacy. So they have to be made sure that they're protected and maintain their relationship with the federal government on the sanctions check there. So we're addressing their needs very specifically. As those relationships developed, we now get referrals from those supermarkets as well. And the one thing very interesting is I can go back to the very first person that gave me that first referral into the supermarket chain 17 years ago. And I can tell you that one referral has generated over $1 million in sales in the last umpteen years. That's just one. The second one I'll give you is in the contractor resources field. So insurance companies insure your house, they insure your car, they insure your pool, they insure your roof from certain things that happen when trees fall down, especially when it's a neighbor, so forth and so on. So we all know what happens, especially during the wintertime. Storms come through, snow drops, and the next thing you know, it's 9 years ago on Halloween night, and half the state of Connecticut is out of electricity. Well, the insurance companies jump into gear and they start processing claims. So what they have developed is a referral network themselves where they have the Serv Pros, the Surface Masters, the Rainbow Internationals, and the local general construction companies like Paul Davis and then a variety of mom and pops. So what they do is they have around the country, they have a network of providers that they have previously vetted so that when those claims come in, they have the ability by zip code to look up and say, okay, we got the following 3 companies in the area can do the work that you need, whether that be a ServPro that's going to clean out your basement because of the flood that you had, or a Paul Davis that is going to reconstruct that hole in roof, whatever the need be. What happens is the insurance company takes back a finder's fee. Then I can tell you that runs greater than 3% in most cases. So if you've got a, $75,000 restore, and the referral that's given out to the local contractor to rebuild that, he or she is paying 3% on that referral. In that case, it's going to be, like $2,200, $2,300, something like that, that they're going to take from the actual cost of the $75,000 paid out by the insurance company. They're taking that back. And what Best Hire does in that process is we vet all of those people before they go on the job site. Before they go on the job site, we have checked them for verification of who they are. We know that the I-9 form by the employer is in place. We know where they have lived as an adult, and we check approximately 7 to 10 years with a criminal history into those states that they've lived at. We know what their driving record looks at. We know that they're not on the sex offender registry, that they're not on the terrorist registry. And when they walk through the door at your house, they're wearing a badge with or without a photo on it. But that badge that we produce is indicative of them passing the background check. And the reason why they have it is because they only get it from our staff as a third party if they've cleared the background check. So there's assurances to the homeowner that these people walking through the door, yeah, they know the owner that was referred to them, but they can also be reassured that they're dealing with halfway decent people and experience, and their background is clear. So those are just 2 types of business referrals that we have in place. And I encourage you all to start your own thinking hat process and try to figure out how to promulgate an ongoing leads process. It's okay to get up to bat every once in a while, but gee whiz, you got to wait in the dugout to actually get up to bat before you can start striking out. And so my point is you need to get up the bat more often before you can develop your runs batted in averages. How are we doing on time? About 11:20 here. Not too bad. Again, let me stop for a second and see how any questions coming in from the group here. If you just hit your unmute there.
Yeah, no questions, Carl. I mean, I think it's definitely great information on the different types of referrals and the kind of structure that's there. And I think also what's good is even giving feedback to the person who gave you the referrals afterwards as well. So what I like to do is if someone gives me so for example, sometimes I partner up with financial planners, and they have clients that they need to get their will prepared. So if I get 1 or 2 referrals from someone, I'll follow up with them. It might be a couple weeks later, a month later. Obviously I thank them right on the spot. Number one, to acknowledge and thank them for the referral. But then I also follow up to let them know the result of the referral as well. To say, hey, look, I just want to thank you. And this person decided to move forward. This person decided to wait because XYZ reason. But I think, people appreciate that too, getting that feedback to let them know, how the referral went, and to, let them know that you actually took the time to follow up with those individuals.
I love that, Kevin. You're being proactive on it, and that's really good, because if there's any dissatisfaction, and you can ask Lynn this from her experience, her family was operating a very big banquet facility in Massachusetts for many, many years. If there's any displeasure whatsoever, you want to know about it as early on and be able to either correct it and or nip it in the bud, whatever you have to do to make sure that if that person goes up online and gives you a review, that's great. But if you've got 25 reviews and they're all coming in at 5.0 out of 5.0, that's fantastic. And we review our work with our clients in different aspects. Not only do we call them up, quite often we'll give them a heads up on a serious background check that's coming back not looking good at all. It's sometimes very shocking to see some of these records come back and you go, holy cow, do you really think you have the right person? So I applaud your, Kevin, your efforts to make sure that you're in touch with them, both before as well as after. And I can also testify that the first time when I did sign up with Legal Shield, Kevin and I had several discussions after my first call to make sure, what I was getting was what I thought I was getting. The feedback was raw. The ideas were great. And so it continues to work for me. And that's why I did pick up the phone a second time and give them a call. And I mean, just think about it. How much does it cost to pick up the phone and call a lawyer and get legal advice? They tell you on the ads, the first hour is for free, but after that, watch out. We were on a call earlier in the week, and her rate is this lady's rate, who specializes in human resources. She's just under $500 an hour. So time goes flying by on that one. Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments? Concerns? I'll keep moving on here then. Good. Thank you. So the next part of this is we've covered how the referrals grow, open and make the sale, educate and upgrade, and last, review the work and ask for referrals. This comes from a gentleman by the name of Alan Weiss. He's one of my favorite business consultants that I have followed, oh Lord, at least 15, 20 years or better. And what comes to my mind right off the bat is this: right place, right time, right message. All three of those things have to be in place to be able to pull the trigger on this. So you approach somebody and you open up an account and you make the sale with them. The next step you should be doing is educating them on your products. So we get a lot of people that say, nope, this is just what I want, exactly what I want, blah, 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 blah. But when let's use the example of a banquet facility. Somebody comes in and they got a dollar estimate in mind per person that they want to spend, and they don't want to go over that. Your job is to make them aware of the options that are available around that, whether it's an increase, a decrease, or maybe it's just a couple more pieces of service that doesn't cost you anything to make them even happier. But I think that whole educating process is something that we overlook quite often, where you just want to, you're trying to land as many fish as possible, bang, 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 as opposed to, okay, now we got hold of everything. This one really jerked the line, and this one is a much bigger fish. Let's take a little more time in the way we reel this in and catch this fish, because this one happens to be a 9-pounder, and all the other ones were pumpkin seeds and baby fish that weigh maybe 4 ounces. But educating should be always in your mind, because I think that taking the time and running scenarios by them is what builds respect. And in our business here is we start with customers, but our goal is to turn them into clients. And the way we do that is we take people that have never done background checks before. They have no idea of what's available to them. We start them off slow, and we get them running with what they know to start with. And then as the profiles are being input for the background checks, we start educating them about things that are available to them, and they become a better consumer, I guess you could say. But this is what we call a client, because we're taking that client under our care, custody, and control, and we feel a huge responsibility to make sure that our diligence is being done and our friendliness comes across, that we care what happens to them. And it's not just about denying somebody employment. It's taking back the information and putting it in front of them and letting the business owner make the decision, as long as they know what the risks and exposures are. And in today's day and age, there's a lot of risks out there. The Connecticut Human Rights Organization in Hartford now instituted a brand new law that says that all employers with 3 employees or more must be certified in your sexual harassment classes that they have come up with. And that took employers back quite a bit. They're very, very concerned about it. But I've taken the certification posed 2 different ways. Number one, through the state itself, the CHRO does have that available, and it's a YouTube process that you go through. And I've also taken it through the process with the Connecticut Restaurant Association, and their approaches are a little different, but they're very thorough. And the interesting thing that I didn't realize, there's 21 classes that are protected. And like, wow, there's a few classes that protection that I would have never thought about. Yes, your seniors are protected. Your women that are pregnant with expecting children, they're a protected class. There are certain things that they're allowed to do in your work environment that as an employer you have to be aware of and make available to them, which I think is a kindness to begin with, but it has to be pointed out now. So we educate our people, and I've had discussions just this week with churches not being aware of this sexual harassment training that's required by law. And the downside of it is, I don't think any employer wants to go through the wrath of finding out what a lawsuit comes out. And there you go, Kevin, with your legal services. The last thing you want to do is pick up your phone and call your Legal Shield people and say, I just got served with a lawsuit for sexual harassment in the workplace. And that attorney from Bridgeport, that firm down there, the first thing they're going to say is your team certified by the state? And your response might be, no, it's not. And now you've got to take a big step back and figure out, how do I handle this? So preparation, I think, is part of the education in the process. The third part of this is the last review, the work product, like Kevin has mentioned, and asking for referrals. And when I get to this point where I've done a great job in my heart, and I know that they're getting the best recommendations with the reports possible in a timely process, then I do feel very satisfied that we did a great job. Number 2, if they're a client that was allowed us to learn teach them in the process. I love that. People that are open to ideas, suggestions, and new things coming down the road. You have to be that kind of business attitude, because that's just a matter of the aspect of the way business operates. Laws come along, they change. You have to buy new insurance to make sure things are covered. Or how about when it comes to what's on the menu? There's hot things out there on and your chef goes, well, I don't want to cook that. I'm like, hold on, I get people that are coming in that are asking for this product all the time. Like, okay, I'll have to look into it. That's educating your staff so that you can put a better product to the line, so that when you wrap up and you do a review with your client, you say, is there anybody else out there that you think you could recommend us to that would benefit from the type of service or product that we're putting together for you? And that's the third part of that relationship. And this is very, very important to the success, as well as growing your products. Now, the last part, this is very dear to me, is consider advertising with your nonprofits. And a couple of reasons. Number one, your money goes very, very far with them. I mean, look at Kevin can testify. Look at the people at FoodShare. They're on this call with us every week. They tell us about the results that they get. They are just enamored at the amount of response of people that show up and are taking this food. You would not think that there's that many people out there that really need the support that they have available. And I, for one, am very, very thankful that I have the ability to put food on my table every day for my family. And I have to respect that I have the mindset to be able to earn a living, and I have to offer this to others as well. Food share is one. The Manchester Road Race. Let me tell you something. Manchester Road Race not happening this year. I mean, gee whiz, raise your hand. How long have you been hearing about the Manchester Road Race down here in Connecticut? And they've been going on for, I bet you this thing has been running for better than 50 years. Well, I'll tell you something. It's not just a road race. They do a fantastic support of the community in various donations back out there. And then locally, Sarah is probably aware of, just like I am, Hockham Valley Community Council is another local program. Not only do they take care of people that are down and out when it comes to food, but they also provide counseling services, marital services, and even a rideshare program is run. They have a number of buses that run in our area. So these are just three locations, businesses, nonprofits, charities, whatever you want to call them, that we like locally. And I think when it comes to developing your referrals, that people do A, see your name out there, and B, appreciate the donation effort that you're making to these nonprofits that are valuable and are taking care of the local aspect. So that's the last part of that referral triangle that I talk about, and I hope that you've all have some new appreciation on the business referral sides in helping your referrals grow. So let me unshare this document, and we'll hit stop sharing. We'll go back to the crowd here, and let's see if we can figure out how to unmute everybody. I know how to do this. I've only done it a few times, right? That's not it. Participants. Mute. That's it. Well, maybe you can all try it yourselves.
Yeah, it works to unmute yourself too. Oh, it looks like there's a lock on your mutes.
Is there a lock on it now?
Yeah, it looks like Linda and Kevin are locked as muted.
How about that?
Yeah. Now if they unmute, they should be able to.
I just hit unmute all, and it's not doing it. Why is
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. There you go.
Yeah. Sarah, you had mentioned that you had a program at the club, which is interesting because we tried something similar, getting new members by bringing along a friend. It's a great idea. Kevin, have you tried some different programs? What have you found works well for you for generating new referrals?
I mean, so usually, I mean, just the best referrals. I mean, just with the satisfied members. So going back out to members and let them know, like, hey, I really build my business via referral. I mean, especially if you like the services that you're offered, you're able to get your will prepared, or you got assistance with that landlord tenant issue, or any question or concern that you have. We do have a referral program. And typically there's kind of usually two types of people who give referrals, so we have some that like the incentivized referrals where, like, for example, I have someone who does small business consulting, and and she could sign up as an independent associate herself to offer the services to her clients. But she prefers just to give me the referrals, but she'll take the $20 referral. So she doesn't want to kind of get involved herself, to be in kind of an independent associate with the company. But occasionally she has her clients that she works with, and she's like, oh, my friend or one of my clients could definitely benefit from this plan. And basically what I do is I give her a $20 referral, like via PayPal, for each and every single person that she refers who actually enrolls. And I always thank her, like, regardless if they get started or not. But mostly, and then one of the good things about referrals is that usually when someone gives you a referral, they're practically 80% of the way there. So I mean, it's a much shorter kind of cycle in terms of follow-up with that person typically, because chances are they've already had that interaction and conversation with the person that is referring them, and that person wouldn't give the referral if they didn't feel confident about the product. So again, when you get like that warm market referral, it's like 80% of the work is already done. It's like all you have to do is kind of really explain and verify what the person said to them when they gave the referral, and let them know specifically maybe for their situation and question how it would work, and then help them with the enrollment process. So referrals, I mean, if you're able to kind of create a system for getting that on a regular basis, it just reduces the cycle in terms of your follow-up time. So that's really one of the main things I do for some people. They prefer to get like a $20 referral for each person who signs up. And then we have some people who like to have another gentleman that he does financial planning, and he doesn't care, about, getting paid. He just does it because he likes the service, and he like, and my clients need this, go ahead and get them enrolled. And just a simple thank you is enough, so. So again, I think it's good to ask the person, hey, would you like to, or do you mind getting? I mean, I used to back when we were going out more, I used to give like Darden gift cards, like these $15 gift cards, like Red Lobster and Olive Garden. So that used to be something kind of nice to kind of give to people. And then I like giving that type of a gift because people are able to enjoy. If you give $20 cash or $20 a gift card to a restaurant, that's more of an experience. So I think people remember more when it's more experiential versus just here's $20. They could spend it on Amazon and forgot where they got it from. So
is it a structured program where you're communicating the offer of a gift card or a certificate? Like, is it in your marketing, or is it just something you do verbally with your?
It's just verbally. And usually with new members from time to time, I'll send, when I do like a confirmation, I'll put like one sentence in there, by the way, who do you know that could benefit from our program? We'd love to help them. But I don't put the intricate details because, again, I can change at any time. And I usually just have a conversation with people and say, hey, by the way, we do have a referral program. There's multiple ways you can get involved. If you don't want to become an independent associate yourself, but people could benefit, you can feel free to let me know. I'd be more than happy to do the overview. And if you'd like to get like a $20 referral, for each person via PayPal or, Cash App is a new thing now, then, we'll give you a referral, so, Yeah, so usually
And
I'll ask the person if they like to get involved that way.
Is that a referral for someone that's booking new business with you, or just giving the referral to you? They get.
Oh
the
no,
gift
definitely
card?
new business. Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, someone can give me a list of 500 people. Like, I want my $20 for each person. So it's people that they refer. They'll get a thank you though. They'll if they give me a name,
Yeah.
I'll tell them thank you wholeheartedly. But in terms of getting the $20, it's usually after spoken with the person, make sure they understand the services that are included. As submitted, it's processed. And then usually it's like the next day, I'll send it directly to them with another thank you note that usually comes with the referral anyway. So we do it via PayPal or Cash. If you put a little note in there, you have to thank them for the referral. And usually I get a little smiley face back, But
And Sarah, how did your program work out with your members?
You mean how many people took advantage?
Yeah.
Well, not that many. Because they do have to, it's kind of a few steps process, so it's not just giving a name and if they join, they'll get a perk. They have to be really involved in the whole entire process. So,
Okay.
I mean, I get names all the time like, hey, contact my buddy. They either don't join or they do join, but like just giving a name, anyone can give a name, but really they would have to be super active. So give them, so they would give me a name. They would have to set up a meeting with us, with me so we can meet. Would have to bring them to the course, kind of show them around, like be involved with me and basically be like my sales partner almost. And if they join and they're very active in the process and they really seal the deal and put the bow on it, then sure they would definitely get the little perk that they could choose from. But it has to be, like I said, it has to be an active process. It can't just be, here's so-and-so, they're about to join, so, but I'm their referral. It's not really.
Yeah. Sure.
Because then we would be giving out everything left and right. So active participation is where they'll get it. But yeah, hopefully moving forward in the winter, we'll see a bigger spike in people who are really taking advantage of it. Because times are slowing down, people are starting to look at where maybe if they're part of somewhere, maybe they're thinking about maybe if they want to change their scenery or just if they move to town and want to know a little bit more about it. So hopefully our members will take a little bit more advantage of it because I think it's a great program.
Yeah.
I know I would try to.
We just incorporated, I won't take any much time, but we just did a new referral program and we sent it to our clients and we gave them an option for any new referral that we receive that generated in a sale that they could either have a gift card or we would make a donation in their name.
Oh, that's nice.
For 3 different nonprofits, which we try to hit all the groups, wounded warriors, veterans, pets, animals in need, and children in need. So I think that it's early to say because we're in the middle of COVID, so it's not the first thing on everyone's mind is a referral program right now. But I think when things settle down, I think it will be a nice option that people will look at and appreciate. Yeah, having that ability to make a donation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're the first person who I've said that they could either get something or you could donate to somebody else. So I think that's really great. I mean, because some people may not know how to donate. They might not have access to a computer, but if they're helping you out and you can make that donation for them, then by all means, absolutely. I think that's really unique, and I think that's great.
Good point. Good point, Sarah. All righty. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate your attending this morning, and I hope that you've taken away some new ideas that you might be able to put in play for you. So this is part 2, and next Friday we'll wrap it up with part 3 of 3, and hopefully we'll see you all then. Until then, have a great weekend, and watch out for that weather. It's going to change on us again anytime soon. Have a good day.
Nice meeting you all.
All righty. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.